right now, your absolute dream job might actually be going to someone who is, much less qualified than you are.
Oh, absolutely.
And simply because they happen to be slightly better at formatting an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I mean, think about how wild that actually is.
It's completely wild.
We've somehow just accepted the system where we try to, compress decades of human brilliance and late night problem solving, complex career pivots, and honestly, our actual human essence into a few tiny static bullet points.
Right.
And frankly, it is just a terrible system for evaluating human potential.
It really is. I mean, it's an incredibly restrictive filter. We take the dynamic, messy, brilliant reality of a human career and force it into this rigid historical format.
Yeah, totally.
And when you compress a complex professional life down to just action verbs and percentage increases, a massive amount of incredible talent just gets lost in the compression process.
Okay, so let's unpack this because
Yeah.
that very frustration is the mission of our deep dive today. We are exploring the rapid, almost startling evolution of personal branding and job seeking. We have our hands on a stack of fascinating source materials regarding a platform called Entraview.
Yeah, the interview material,
Exactly. We're specifically looking at their product overview and a conceptual guide to what they're calling AI career storytelling.
which is a fascinating concept.
It really is. So we're going to figure out how artificial intelligence is completely transforming the traditional static resume into an interactive conversational talent agent.
Yes.
And more importantly, we're going to explore what that actually means for how you present your professional value to the world. There's a core tagline from the material that really sets the stage here, which is, "A resume can't talk. Yours can."
That is a remarkably bold claim, honestly. But it strikes right at the heart of the problem. A traditional document is silent the moment it leaves your hands.
Right. It can't defend itself.
Exactly. It can't answer follow-up questions.
And to wrap my head around it, I kept thinking about the film industry. If a traditional resume is like a static movie poster, it shows the title, the main actors, maybe a quick promotional tagline interview is like letting the recruiter watch the full high definition movie trailer.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, completely equipped with the director's commentary playing over the footage. It's not just showing them the title of what you did, it's letting them experience the story of how you did it.
Well, that director's commentary is the crucial part of this entire concept. Because on a standard piece of paper, a 2-year employment gap, for example, is often viewed as a glaring red flag by scanning software.
Oh, totally. You get filtered out immediately.
Right. But with the with a conversational agent, the AI can explain that, you took time off to care for a sick relative while simultaneously teaching yourself Python through late-night online classes.
Which is hugely impressive.
Context changes everything. A resume tells people what you did, but this platform aims to explain who you are, how you think, and why your specific experience matters to their specific problem.
And that transition from just listing what you did to actually explaining how you think is a huge leap.
Yeah.
But I want to push back on this for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
Because right at the top of the conceptual guide, there's a very explicit point. It says, Interview is not a resume builder.
Correct.
So if it's not formatting a PDF for me, what exactly are we feeding this AI? My immediate fear here is that by putting artificial intelligence squarely in the middle of the hiring process, we strip away the human element entirely.
I see why you think that.
Right. Are we just sending robots out into the digital ether to negotiate with other robots so we can get a job?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the platform actually reverses that fear.
Really? How so?
You aren't giving the AI less of yourself to create a generic summary. You are giving it significantly more nuance than a page could ever hold. Yeah, you don't just upload a flat resume and ask it to make it sound professional. Users are uploading deep portfolio details, intricate project histories, long-form writing samples, certifications, and importantly, broader career context and future goals.
Wait, so it's basically just memorizing everything I ever done so it can regurgitate answers for me?
No, it's much more than just memorization. It's contextualization.
Okay, contextualization.
The system ingests this massive amount of data and maps your experiences together. It understands the relationship between, say, a marketing campaign you ran 5 years ago and a data analytics certification you just completed.
Right, it connects the dots.
Exactly. It synthesizes that data so that it can speak intelligently on your behalf to recruiters, hiring managers, mentors, or even scholarship reviewers.
So it really is a proxy.
Yes. And regarding your fear about stripping away the human element, the foundational philosophy here is not about replacing the person. It is about giving the candidate a dedicated, highly articulate representative. Think of it like briefing an elite chief of staff with all your background information so they can champion your cause and answer nuanced questions when you physically cannot be in the room.
Okay, that makes sense. Because if I just blindly email someone a PDF, I mean, I'm entirely defenseless. I'm not in the room.
You have no voice in that moment.
Exactly.
That's right.
If a recruiter misinterprets a bullet point, or if they just don't understand the sheer technical depth of a project I listed, I lose the opportunity and I never even know why.
Right. Happens all the time.
But with an agent, the AI is there to clarify, pivot, and expand. It's great that candidates can upload all this context, but I really want to look at who is actually finding this useful.
Examining the user base really reveals the universality of this problem.
Because here's where it gets really interesting. I was looking through the featured talent list from the sources, and I honestly expected to see just one very specific type of Silicon Valley tech profile.
Just software engineers, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the variety is staggering. Let's look at the technical side first. We have Mike Walker, a chief operating officer, using it to highlight his high-level strategy and cross-functional coordination.
Right.
We have Priya Patel, a systems engineer focused on distributed systems and reliability. Marcus Johnson, who is a DevOps engineer building CI/CD pipelines. We have Van T. Truong, a seasoned DevOps architect and manager, and Dane Lee, a solutions architect combining technical leadership with scalable cloud strategy.
Well, let's pause on that jargon for a second, because understanding what those people actually do is critical to understanding why they need an AI agent.
Good point.
Take Marcus Johnson, the DevOps engineer building CI/CD pipelines. A CI/CD pipeline is essentially the highly complex automated assembly line for software code.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, is what allows giant tech companies to update their apps seamlessly without everything just completely crashing.
Right, so it's the invisible plumbing that keeps the internet running.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for professionals like Marcus or founders or product managers, their true value is almost impossible to quantify on a page.
Because it's so abstract.
Yes. The sheer complexity of resolving a cascading server failure at 3 in the morning, the intricate problem-solving patterns they develop under pressure, their leadership in a crisis, none of that translates neatly into a single bullet point that just says, managed cloud infrastructure and improved uptime by 10%.
Right. Because how do you put, I have an almost supernatural intuition for finding the exact line of code that broke the deployment on a resume without sounding incredibly arrogant or hopelessly vague.
You really can't.
You can't. But a conversational AI can actually explain that intuition when prompted. It can tell the story of that 3 a.m. server crash.
Exactly.
But it's not just highly technical workers leaning into this. I want to contrast that group with the creatives featured on the platform.
Oh, the creatives are a great example.
Yeah, we have Elena Martin, who is a gaming influencer focused on streaming and interactive entertainment. Ella Thompson, an actress and influencer doing brand partnerships, and Eric Point, an actor and model doing commercial work and visual media.
It truly spans the entire spectrum of modern work, from the deeply technical to the highly visual.
Yeah, it's wild.
And what's even more crucial is how it spans across different career stages. The materials place a very heavy emphasis on students and early career candidates.
Oh man, that is such a notoriously tough spot to be in.
It really is.
When you are 21 and just starting out, your resume is basically a list of the schools you attended and maybe like a part-time job at a coffee shop that has absolutely nothing to do with your actual career ambitions.
And traditionally, that lack of formal history just gets you filtered out immediately. You haven't had the time to build the required years of experience that HR demands.
Right, the classic catch-22.
But students have class projects.
Yeah.
They have internships, volunteer work, extracurriculars, personal coding projects, and most importantly, they have immense potential and learning agility.
Which a flat piece of paper does a terrible job of capturing.
Precisely. Entraview takes all those fragmented pieces, which look wildly unimpressive as separate, disconnected bullet points, and translates them into a richer, cohesive profile.
How does it do that?
Well, if a student led a complex group project, managed the deadlines, mediated conflicts between team members, and delivered the final presentation, the AI can articulate that they already possess foundational project management and leadership skills.
Even without the formal title.
Exactly. It showcases a holistic narrative of what this young person is actually capable of.
Think about your own career for a second. Do you have highly valuable skills from projects that were never formally titled?
Everyone does.
Right. Maybe you stepped up and managed a department crisis while your boss was away, but your HR title never actually changed to crisis manager.
Good point.
Or maybe you have a completely nonlinear career path. You started in marketing, moved over to logistics, and now you want to transition into product design.
Very common nowadays.
A standard chronological resume makes that look like you are confused and lost. But a conversational agent can explain the brilliant underlying logic behind those transitions.
It gives you control of the narrative.
Yes. It can say, actually, their background in logistics makes them uniquely qualified to design products that are incredibly easy to ship.
It provides the connective tissue between the bullet points. But, this brings up a massive operational hurdle.
What's that?
We've thoroughly explored how candidates use this to project their story. But none of that matters if recruiters refuse to use the interface.
Oh, that's true.
We have to shift perspectives. What is the incentive for the person on the receiving end, the recruiter or the hiring manager, to actually engage with an AI instead of just skimming a document? If this is just a gimmick that adds time to their day, it will fail.
That is the ultimate test, right? The recruiters are the gatekeepers. So how does a conversation with an interview profile actually flow in a way that saves them time?
Let's look at the source material.
Yeah, the material gives us the exact kinds of questions a recruiter is supposed to ask. They can start with the basics, like what projects has this person worked on? Or what are their strongest technical skills?
Standard screening questions.
Exactly. But if I'm a recruiter, I'm not just going to ask for a work history. I'm going to poke the AI.
See what it can really do.
Right. I'm going to ask qualitative questions. Things like, how do they solve problems? What kind of role would they be a good fit for? And my absolute favorite use case, can you summarize this candidate's leadership style for a hiring manager?
If we connect this to the bigger picture of modern hiring, you have to realize the sheer unmanageable volume of data a recruiter deals with every single day.
Oh, it's got to be overwhelming.
They are drowning in an ocean of PDFs, automated job board applications, and LinkedIn profiles. This conversational format gives the reviewer a drastically faster way to find relevant signal amidst all that noise.
So it actually saves them time.
Yes. Instead of reading through 20 vague bullet points to guess if a candidate has the right management style for a startup environment, they can simply ask the AI, describe their management style in high-pressure situations.
It's like having a bespoke search engine built specifically to navigate one single human being.
That's a great way to put it.
And speaking of dealing with the overwhelming noise of the professional world, we have to talk about the feature they call the mail agent.
Ah, yes. The mail agent.
The sources note this is powered by something copyrighted in 2026 called Ragline by Data Technologies. Let me tell you, when I read about the capabilities of this mail agent, my very first thought was that this is like having a highly elite bouncer at an exclusive club who also miraculously manages your personal calendar.
That is a brilliant way to visualize it.
Yeah.
And just to clarify that technical term you mentioned, ragline.
Yeah, what is that?
It refers to a specific type of AI architecture. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation.
Okay, Retrieval Augmented Generation.
In plain terms, it means that before the AI opens its digital mouth to answer an email, it securely retrieves your actual verified facts. It grounds its responses in your data so it doesn't hallucinate or confidently invent skills you don't actually possess.
Thank goodness for that, because you do not want your AI out there accepting jobs for programming languages you've never even heard of.
No, definitely not.
But back to this bouncer concept, the mail agent is designed to handle the logistical heavy lifting of career networking. First of all, it is always on.
Right.
It automatically responds to messages, meaning you never miss a massive opportunity just because you were asleep or, actually focused on doing your current job.
And it goes far beyond sending a generic, I am currently out of the office, auto-reply. The underlying technology uses psychological frameworks to understand the context of an incoming message and reply naturally. It essentially reads the room.
Okay, wait, how does a software program read the room?
By evaluating the subtext, urgency, and seniority of the sender.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If a CEO or a startup founder emails you directly at 9 p.m. on a Sunday with an urgent project inquiry, the AI understands that this requires a different tone and priority level than a generic automated blast from a recruiter looking to fill a mid-level role.
Oh, I love that. I was honestly just joking about this earlier, but how nice would it be to have an AI politely decline a a terrible lowball job offer for you while keeping the relationship completely intact.
It handles the awkwardness for you.
Yes. It entirely removes the friction. It actively qualifies and prioritizes these opportunities. It captures the key details of the inquiry like budget, timeline, scope. And then, if the opportunity is deemed valuable based on your preset goals, it seamlessly connects to your availability.
So it manages the calendar, too.
Exactly. It suggests smart meeting times based on your actual calendar, significantly reducing that endless, frustrating back and forth of scheduling.
Which is such a time drain.
It really is. The ultimate goal is to let the mail agent guard your time and keep your pipeline full while you just focus on deep work.
It is a massive external advantage. But, while that external function, getting hired, getting discovered, managing the chaotic inbox is clearly the primary selling point, the source materials reveal this really powerful, almost hidden secondary benefit.
The hidden benefit.
Yeah, it's an introspective benefit that happens long before the user even hits send on a single job application.
Oh, you're talking about the preparation phase?
Exactly.
There is a line in the text that I found deeply relatable. It just casually notes, some people are bad at self-promotion.
Very true.
And it is so universally true. So many brilliant, highly capable people physically cringe at the idea of bragging about themselves. They naturally downplay their achievements. So what does this all mean for the applicant's own psychology and interview preparation?
Well, simply by going through the intensive process of organizing their background to train this AI profile, users are forced to deeply understand their own strengths.
That makes sense.
When you sit down and have to feed the system your context, explain your specific problem-solving methods, and articulate your future goals, you are essentially mapping out your own professional DNA.
You have to articulate it clearly to the machine, which entirely forces you to articulate it clearly to yourself.
Yes, and the psychological result is profound. They learn to explain their experience with far greater clarity.
Wow.
And because they've seen their own data synthesized so powerfully, they end up presenting themselves with much greater confidence in the real world. The tool that is primarily meant to explain them to others actually ends up explaining them to themselves first.
It's basically cognitive behavioral therapy for your career.
It really is.
You walk away from setting up your profile going, wow, I actually have done some amazing things over the last decade. I do have a highly unique way of solving problems. You cure your own imposter syndrome just by uploading and structuring your data.
That raises an important question, though.
What's that?
If we zoom out and look at the macro level of the economy, how many incredibly capable people are currently being overlooked simply because they are bad at writing resumes?
Probably millions.
Right. A resume is a very specific, highly rigid genre of writing. Being bad at writing a resume does not mean you are bad at your job. It just means you are bad at writing resumes.
That is so true.
Entraview effectively democratizes discovery by entirely removing that artificial barrier. It turns a heavily formatted static document into a dynamic conversation where your actual capabilities, your potential, and your thought process can shine through completely regardless of your formatting skills.
That is such a powerful thought to anchor on. The formatting shouldn't be the test.
No, it shouldn't.
The margins and the font size shouldn't be the test. The actual experience and human potential should be the test. And that really brings us full circle on this entire deep dive.
It does.
We have explored this massive leap from static, restrictive bullet points to a personal conversational AI talent agent. We've looked at how entirely different fields, from DevOps engineers untangling server architecture to actors and gaming influencers to college students, are using this to capture the hidden value in their life's work.
We've also seen how it fundamentally changes the workflow for recruiters, giving them the incentive to adopt it by allowing them to find the signal faster through natural, qualitative conversation.
And of course, we can't forget the mail agent handling the exhausting logistics of networking, evaluating urgency, and acting as that elite bouncer for your time.
Crucial feature.
The overarching theme here is that your professional story, all your late nights, your weird career pivots, your untitled leadership moments, your unique intuition, that story is invariably richer, more complex, and vastly more nuanced than anything that can ever fit on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper.
And if we project this trajectory forward based on the source material, that leads to a rather provocative thought to leave you with today.
Let's hear it.
Imagine a near future where your personal AI talent agent eventually becomes utterly perfect at explaining your background. It perfectly maps your nuances, your cultural preferences, and flawlessly demonstrates your problem-solving skills to a recruiter or hiring manager before you ever even step foot in a room.
Okay, interesting.
If the AI has already definitively proven your technical competence,
Yeah.
how does that change the nature of the actual face-to-face human interview?
Oh, wow.
Does the traditional job interview completely stop being a technical test of your skills and transform entirely into a pure test of human chemistry, emotional intelligence, and culture fit? Keep writing your story.